great man theory is the theory that there are people who are great men, which I'm going to quote my school. Great men are those who are highly influential individuals who, due to either their personal charisma, intelligence, wisdom, or political skill, are utilized in their power in a way that they have or had a decisive historical impact. End quote. One of the most influential figures in out of all of our history would definitely have to be Napoleon Bonaparte. Yet the question is, was he truly a great man, for starters? What makes a great man? This definition, or is it more than the simple definition I gave? And how in the world, if he was a great man, did he become a great man? Napoleon actually was born into Italian nobility. However, this being said, his family was poor. So he knew how to make the most out of every buck. It was just a part of his life. Despite Napoleon Bonaparte's poverty, somehow he found a way to get his education. At a young age, he proved his genius when, at the age of only 9, he got a scholarship to go to a high, prestigious military school. Throughout the years, he got higher and higher. By the age of 16, he became an officer. In no time, he completed normally what was a 2-year program in 1 year. Throughout the years, he got higher and higher positions through different military coups and wars, till eventually he became a general in his 20s of all of the French armies and troops. During Napoleon's career, he took over most of the European Empire and affected even other areas of the world. One of his campaigns before he was emperor, when he was just a general, he took them to Egypt. And, as one source claims, probably because that was where originally some of the great power came over time. Further, a more practical reason was that Britain had a port in India, and in order to get through that port, they had to go through Egypt. If he took over Egypt, he'd block them from doing that. He also tried to take over Russia, which goes through Europe and Asia. However, this being said, he didn't take over Russia for one reason: the Russian winter. But thousands and thousands of his armies and troops died because of the winter. They were not prepared. He also affected North America in a very big way. If it wasn't for Napoleon, the War of 1812 wouldn't have happened how it did. Because Napoleon had taken over pretty much all of Europe but Britain, Napoleon realized he didn't want any more British ports coming to France, so he stopped his British ports. This nipped off Britain, so of course Britain said, well, fine then, we are going to stop our French ports. But in a desperate act of paranoia, Britain also decided to close its American ports. This was a big mistake. This got Americans very vexed. Further, they wanted to be a part of the Napoleonic Wars. They wanted to prove to Europe that they were a country. But of course, Britain knew that wouldn't go over well. So they stopped the U.S. from coming to their ports and having a chance to go into the Napoleonic War. So how large is Napoleon's influence on the world today? What were some of the things he made during his era? Firstly, he established legal systems. He established the Napoleon Code, which is still in effect today in some countries. In fact, it's still in effect in my country of Canada, in the province of Quebec. It's used. Secondly, education systems. It was his idea to take the church out of schooling and put the state in control of the schooling. And further, he restored peace in France. Throughout the French Revolution, there was a strife and struggle for not just equality, but peace and order. When Napoleon took over, he stopped the strife and order. He fixed Paris, which had become pretty much a dump. Things went a lot more calmer, and for that reason, the French people were loyal to him and liked him. So to conclude, was Napoleon a great man? Politically, Napoleon would be what we consider a great man. He succeeded in taking over almost all of Europe in his time period and even influenced North America and Asia. However, this being said, at the end of his life, he did come to a political failure when twice he was exiled. Further, Napoleon set up many things that were good, as I mentioned earlier. However, this being said, was he a great person personally? And I have to answer, no, he was not. If one pauses to think, why did Napoleon set up the education system? Why did he set up the legal system? Why did he restore the order in France? And the answer is, it was only for himself. The education system, he needed scientists, he needed doctors, he needed architects. He needed people to help him in his campaign and in his military warfare. In order to get that, clearly he had to educate the next generation. Secondly, the legal system was so that Napoleon could have order and control over his own people, not having to worry about everything spiraling out of control, of course. Further, Napoleon only set up the order in France because of his own means. He wanted to control, and he had people constantly have strife. He couldn't control. So in he came, he was charismatic and nice and offered security to the people. He paid attention to civilian level. That was one of the reasons people liked him. To conclude, I'll use the words of Jesus in Matthew 20, verse 16. Quote, "So the last will be first, and the first will be last." Unquote. To conclude, is someone a great man if he thinks of his country and helps his country genuinely? Or is a great man someone who only thinks of himself, only sets up education to help himself, only sets up these good things for himself? A man who only thinks of himself is no great man.